Good morning, ma'am. I'm John Matthew Lopez of AR114 of HOA1. I'm here to present San Clemente, Rome, AD 1084 to 1108. So, table of contents. First is in page 3 to 4 is history. 5 to 6 would be architectural background. Page 7 would be architectural analysis, and page 8 would be my sources. The Basilica of San Clemente is situated some 300 yards above the Colosseum on a road that rises gradually to St. John Lateral from the valley between the Coelian Hill on the south and the Oppian Hill on the north. It is named after Pope St. Clement, the third successor of St. Peter in the See of Rome, who died about 100 AD. I will show you the street view of the Colosseum to the Basilica. As you can see, this is the street view of the place. This is the well-known Colosseum in Rome, and this is the San Clemente Basilica. Hence, that's why San Clemente Basilica is one of the most visited basilica in Rome. The place where the San Clemente Basilica is built right now has a long history. During the 2nd century AD, the site on which the church now stands was occupied by a Roman mansion owned by Titus Flavius Clemens, one of the first Roman centers to convert to Christianity. The house was used for Christian clandestine worship since being Christian at that time was forbidden. Approximately a century later, a temple dedicated to Mithras, an all-seeing protector of the truth, was built on the same site. It would remain in use for the performance of rites of initiation till the late 3rd century. On the second floor of the mansion, a large room was built, which would later become a basilica commissioned by Pope Siricius after the end of Christian persecution in 313 AD. It is believed that the church was badly damaged during the Norman sack of Rome in 1084. It was thus abandoned and buried under the level of the streets of the city. Years later, a new church commissioned by Pope Paschal II was erected on the same site and finished in 1108. It is the same basilica that still stands today. Architectural background. The San Clemente Basilica is a three-tiered structure, which I will later on discuss more. Going back, the San Clemente Basilica is a Roman architecture. As you can see in the next slide, the San Clemente Basilica has towering round arches, massive stone and brickworks, small windows, thick walls, and a propensity for housing art and sculpture depicting biblical scenes. Here you can see the apse in the ceiling of the San Clemente Basilica, which it is famous for. It has a lot of biblical depicting scenes and symbols. Architectural analysis of the San Clemente Basilica. In the 1st century, the place was transformed from a private home Christian worship in the 1st century to a grand public basilica by the 6th century. Before the 4th century, the lowest levels of present basilica contain remnants of the foundation of a possibly Republican building that might have been destroyed in the Great Fire of 64 AD. About 100 years later, the central room of the insula was remodeled for use as a part of the Mithraeum. While in the 4th to 11th century, at some time in the 4th century, the lower level of the industrial building was filled in with dirt and rubble, and its second floor remodeled. An apse was built over part of the domus, whose lowest floor in the Mithraeum was also filled in. While the second basilica, which is the one standing now, the current basilica was rebuilt by the Cardinal Anastasius in 1100 AD. One of the possible explanations is that the lower basilica was filled in and the new church built on top due to the close association of the lower structure with imperial opposition pope. Lastly, for the presentation is the sources. Thank you for viewing my presentation po, ma'am.